What's up, guys? Welcome back. So today's video, we are going to be doing a little get ready with me. I am actually going to be answering your assumptions that you have about me. I've been seeing this video circling around YouTube, and I just think it's a really fun way to have you guys get to know me a little bit more and to sort of debunk some assumptions that you may or may not have about me. This video is also acting as a slight intermission between my lip product declutter, just to give you guys a little bit of a break. Don't worry, those videos are still going to be coming. I just didn't want to upload like 5 videos in a row just as my lip product declutter, just for those people who don't really want to see that, to give a little bit of like variety on my channel. But if you're waiting for that, that is still going to be coming. And also, before I begin, hi, welcome to my new little setup. Did a little bit of redecorating yesterday, and I just moved things around in my beauty room, and I'm like very much into this new setup. I just feel like it looks awesome. Let me know your thoughts down below. So yeah, so today I'm just gonna be going through all of your assumptions that you sent over on Instagram. I'm gonna be getting ready as well. I'm gonna be doing my makeup, really just so you have something to look at and that you're slightly entertained while I'm answering these assumptions. Without further ado, I'm gonna zoom you guys in. I'm slightly nervous, not gonna lie. Let's get started. Oh, would you look at that? My first assumption is from the one and only Samantha. She assumes that my friend Sam is an absolute delight. Confirm or deny. You know, if I was trying to be funny here, I would be like, ha, deny, she's not an absolute delight, but that would just be a lie. Sam, you are absolutely a delight, I can't deny it. I'm gonna leave out your names just in case you guys don't wanna be outed by your questions. So first assumption, you are now engrossed in tattoos and is currently storming ideas for your next one. That would be actually correct. By the way, if you didn't know, I got a little Wolfie tattoo right over here. I love this guy so much. I have a whole video of me getting it on my channel. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out if you completely missed that. I knew that as soon as I would get a tattoo that I would become completely obsessed, because that's just my personality. Once I even just like dabble in something that I enjoy, I become so obsessive about it. I don't know if I've said this story before, but this is such a perfect example of my obsessive personality. There was a point in time when I got really into agendas and planning, and with that came the obsession with stickers, which went into the planner, right? It was such an obsession that I went on Amazon, I bought a sticker machine so that I can make my own custom stickers. So that is just to say, moral of the story is that when I get into something, I get into something really hard and deep. Ooh, that's what she said. So with these tattoos, I knew that as soon as I would start, I wouldn't be able to stop. And yes, I am already planning a lot more. I'm so sorry, mom and dad. I am definitely planning on continuing this half sleeve that I have going on. I don't really know exactly what I want. I have sort of an idea. I found an illustration that I really connected with. I think I'm sort of wanting an interpretation of that illustration as like my next tattoo. And I just want to be able to like continue this a little bit, maybe continue it around my arm to start to create a half sleeve. I really feel like after getting one tattoo, it's sort of like ripping off a band-aid. It's really difficult, it's nerve-wracking, but then as soon as you do that, it just opens up Pandora's box, and then every other tattoo just doesn't even really seem like a big deal. So it's just so much easier to get more, and I feel like that's definitely what happened to me. So yeah, that is totally a correct assumption. This foundation, by the way, is beautiful. This is the Revlon Candid foundation. I was really intrigued and interested in trying this because who other than Katie Jane Hughes uses this all the time and talks about it. And it looks really beautiful. It looks super just like natural and glowy. I really like that finish. Ooh. Next assumption, for some reason, I get the vibe that you can never leave dirty dishes in the sink. This is an assumption that I got quite a bit in like a lot of different formats. A lot of people were saying that they assume that I'm just like a really clean, organized type of person. And it's hilarious because you totally would think that I was, just because of the fact that I am a perfectionist. So you would also assume that I would just be sort of like a neat freak. So I explained this to somebody yesterday. I am not neat at all, or organized really at all in like my physical space. So I will always leave dirty dishes in the sink. Like I will leave like my dirty clothes on the bathroom floor. My beauty room is often a complete disaster. I'm the type of person who only cleans up once it gets to the point where it's like I can't handle it anymore, and then I'm like, okay, time to actually clean this space up. But mentally speaking, I'm really organized and I'm such a perfectionist. A lot of you guys did assume that. You guys know that about me. It's something that I've spoken about quite a bit. I just really cannot handle when my life is in disarray, like mentally. So I make a lot of lists, I make a lot of graphs, Excel is my best friend. You guys saw a little taste of that in my testing my subscribers' favorite makeup of 2018. I literally charted and graphed all of your suggestions. Oh my God, I really like this foundation. This is absolutely beautiful. A+++. You seem like always put together. Are you always like that, or do you go through bad days as well? I think it's really easy to assume, especially on social media, that people's lives are perfect, because it's easy to forget that on social media you choose to share only the best. I'm not going to share the days, or I'm really not going to share the moments when I am feeling like garbage, the moments that I definitely do not have my shit together, which is honestly like 90% of the time. I just don't like to share it, and I think that's normal. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe I should be sharing the days that I am struggling and that I'm not feeling great mentally, because maybe it will help those of you who are also feeling that way, which I think is honestly most people. It's so funny because I feel like the older I get, the more I realize that literally everybody struggles with something. When I was younger, I always thought that I was the only person who had anxiety, the only person who, you know, just struggled in any way mentally. And as you grow up, I really feel like you realize that most people feel that way in some way or another. And I feel like in some ways that just makes you feel a little bit better and a little bit less alone. So maybe that is something that I should be sharing online. I'm not really sure, but yeah, that is definitely not true. Okay, another side note, this is the first time that I'm using this concealer. It's the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Light Capturing Self-Setting Concealer. And I love the way that looks. I'm using the color, by the way, number 21. It looks so, so good. This little combo is awesome. The next assumption, you're one of those people who wake up the first time their alarm goes off, and that is definitely me. If I know that I have an alarm set, for example, like 6 in the morning, I get so nervous that my alarm is gonna be going off that my body starts waking me up 2 hours before my alarm is supposed to go off. So for 6 a.m., starting at 4 in the morning, I start waking up literally every 15 minutes just in anticipation that my alarm is gonna go off, which is so messed up. I don't know how I became that way, but I don't know, I feel like it's a good trait, and that's why I'm never ever late. I'm always early. I always tell people that even when I'm running late, I'm still early. This one's interesting. It is assumed that I don't ever drink alcohol. Now this one is sort of correct, but not completely correct. I definitely do have a drink like every once in a while. I am not somebody who needs to have a drink when I go out for dinner or when I go out with friends or whatever. I am like totally okay with just drinking water. As you guys know, I'm a little bit of like a control freak, and I really don't love the feeling of not being able to be in control of my body. So I find that when I drink, I don't always feel completely in control of my body, and I really don't like that feeling. So if I do drink, I drink just enough so that maybe like I get a little bit of a buzz, but I never drink to get drunk. Ever. Even though you live in Montreal, your French is bad. And she says, please, if not, do a video in French. That is completely true. I actually get asked this all the time. I always get asked if I'm able to speak French, and I have lived in Montreal my whole entire life, but I am terrible in French. I just always have been. Every single year growing up, in every single grade, I've taken a French class, because you have to if you live in Montreal. And for some reason, languages just really are not my thing, and I'm just really not able to grasp them. I am able to understand French pretty perfectly, but speaking it, I get a little bit nervous. I really feel like it has more so to do with nerves, because I just feel like I get really embarrassed when I have to speak French, so I overthink it, so I'm not able to speak it like fluidly. I could have a conversation with somebody, they're speaking to me in French, I can understand it perfectly, and I'll just answer back in English. And most of the time that actually works, because in Montreal it is a bilingual city, so most people are able to speak both French and English, so I'm able to get away with it. It sucks so much though, like not being able to speak French perfectly in a city that really relies so heavily on the language. If I was not doing YouTube, I could not live in Montreal, like for sure, because I just can't speak French well enough. So if I had to get a job in Montreal, I would not be able to. I actually remember applying for a job at Lululemon, and the interview was going so well. I was so excited. I really, really wanted the job because I love Lululemon so much. And they were like, okay, now we're gonna ask you a question in French just to sort of like see where you're at, and then we'll be done with the interview. And I was like, God damn it, this is it. I should probably just like get up and leave right now because I'm finished. It was actually a group interview, and it was really funny because it ended up being with a friend from high school who's completely bilingual, and he could speak French like very easily. So they first asked him the question and he like just said the most amazing, beautiful answer in just perfect French. And then they turned to me and I got so nervous that I literally completely forgot every single French word I had ever learned throughout my whole entire life. And I just stared at them with a blank face and I was like, no comment. And needless to say, I did not get the job. Next assumption, you get a little lonely sometimes working from home. Now that is totally true. There are definitely a lot of pros and cons being self-employed. Obviously, one of the big pros is that you're able to create your own schedule, which makes your life a little bit more flexible, which is really awesome. But one of the huge cons is that since you're working from home, you're alone. There is nobody here. So a lot of times I can go a few days without having like any social interaction, which sort of sucks. So I have actually started to make it a little bit more of a point to go out to do my work. So sometimes I will go to a coffee shop just to sort of be in the presence of other humans, which actually I find makes a huge difference, makes the whole experience a whole lot more enjoyable when I am working with other people around. So it really does take that like little extra bit of effort so that I don't get lonely working from home all the time. This one is actually very interesting. I assume that you're a chill person but have trouble when others don't also have drive. This is actually really, really true. I find it difficult for me to hang out with people and be friends with people who don't also have drive. I am somebody who's definitely very driven. I'm somebody who's definitely very like focused, and I like to surround myself with people who are like-minded. Obviously, I don't only want to be friends with people who have similar interests because that's, you know, not fun. I definitely have a variety of people that I love to hang out with who have different interests. I just feel like it's important to surround yourself with good people, people who care about you, but also people who motivate you to want to do better. I actually got this next assumption a few times. They assumed that I was a straight A student. This is not true at all. I was honestly really not the best student. I never have been. I was somebody who did really well in the subjects that interested me. So I was always really good in art, in like computer class, graphic design, in English, but it was like a stark contrast to the courses that did not interest me, which were math and science. I remember there was even one year where the principal bumped up my science average, my science grade by 1% so that I wouldn't have to take summer school because I was very, very close to having to take summer school. But when I went to university, I actually did very, very well because I was studying a subject that I was really interested in. The next assumption is that YouTube has been my only job. That is incorrect. I have had a few jobs. I mean, I did start YouTube pretty young. I started when I was 18 and YouTube became my full-time job probably around 2021. So I didn't have like a ton of years to be able to work like a typical 9 to 5, but I did have a few part-time jobs. My very first job was when I was 16 and I worked at Baskin-Robbins, and then the next summer I loved the ice cream life so much that I decided to apply to Dairy Queen, and I worked there for 2 summers, so that year and then the year after. And then I also worked as a freelance makeup artist for about 2 years, and I also worked at a little like makeup boutique briefly as well. I've been doing YouTube for actually almost 6 years. It's gonna be 6 years in March, which is just insane. And even though I always considered YouTube to be my full-time job, I was never able to, you know, make money off of YouTube. Like for the first, I would say like 4 years, I made pretty much nothing off of YouTube. I really just did it as a hobby, but I treated it as a full-time job. Like I would spend all my time making my videos. Only within the last 2 years has YouTube actually been able to be my job, and I'm able to actually live off of my YouTube channel, which is crazy and so amazing, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that. It took a long time for me to actually get to that point. I actually got a lot of people assuming that I've had my lips done. I didn't know that was such a big assumption, but no, I have never had my lips done. These are my natural lips. I see nothing wrong with getting your lips done. I say do whatever you want to your body, to your face, to anything, as long as it makes you happy and you're doing it for yourself. It really doesn't matter. But no, that is an incorrect assumption. I've never had my lips done. You're one of those Harry Potter fans who saw the movies but did not read the books. How dare you? This assumption deeply offended me. Oh my God, who do you think I am? Of course not. I have read all of the books multiple times. I actually don't love the movies, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like the movies sometimes don't capture the magic that the book actually radiates, you know? So incorrect. And I'm blocking you. Just kidding. This one's interesting. I assume that you get along with extrovert personality types. And I also got a lot of assumptions that I'm an introvert. I think you guys know that. I've definitely mentioned it before. That is actually really true. A lot of my best friends are definitely way more extroverted than I am. And I think that actually creates a really nice balance in the relationship, because when you have two like extroverted personality types, I feel like you could often butt heads. And I feel like if you have two introverted personality types, sometimes you could be a little bit complacent with each other. You won't like push each other to go out of each other's comfort zone, which isn't a bad thing. But for me, I actually do like to be pushed a little bit, both mentally and physically. And I find with being friends with a lot of extroverts and people who are a little bit more, you know, out there and willing to do new things, and that it actually pushes this guy, this little introvert, out of my own comfort zone, and it pushes me to grow as a person. Wow, that is such a mature thing to say. And I feel like even though I am an introvert at heart, I feel like I am growing to be a little bit less of an introvert, which is actually really awesome because it makes me want to do more things and meet new people, which is just such an awesome part of life. So yeah, that's that. A lot of people were also assuming that I'm an only child, and I'm not an only child. I actually have two older sisters, one that's 28 and one that's 31, so I am the baby of the family. The reason why I don't really talk about my sisters is because they actually don't live in the same city as I do, so I don't really see them that often. And you guys know I'm like more of a private person anyway, so I just don't really love to talk about like my family life or anything like that, because I just like to keep that to myself. My family is what's most important to me, and it's what I feel most protective over. So that's why I don't normally love to talk about that part of my life. Although you guys have, you know, seen my mom a few times and I have featured her on my channel, but even me just doing that was like so difficult for me to do. I got very, very nervous. By the way, just use the Lilah B bronzer, and honestly, I forgot about how beautiful this bronzer is. I haven't used it in a while. And it's so pretty. I assume that your mom didn't want you to get your tattoo. You are correct, my friend. My mom and my dad really did not want me to get my tattoo. My dad especially was pretty against it. My mom like sort of warmed up to the idea. She wasn't super into it, not super happy about it. But then she was like, you know what? It's your body. You can do what you want. If it's going to be a mistake, like it's your mistake, which I appreciated. My dad, however, was so unhappy. I was so scared to tell him that I was getting a tattoo because I just knew exactly what his reaction would be. So I only told him literally 2 days before I went to get it because I didn't want him to influence me to not get it. So I told him pretty much at like the very, very, very last minute. When I told him that I was getting a tattoo, the first question he asked me was, how big is it going to be? And I was like, well, it's going to take up most of my forearm. And he was like, what? Most of your forearm? Can't you just get something that's like an inch max? I was like, no, Dad, I'm getting this tattoo. It's going to be pretty big. And like, it is what it is. But then a few nights ago, he turned to me, looked at my tattoo, looked at me, and he's like, you know what? I actually really like your tattoo. I think it's pretty cool. And I was like, oh my God, are you accepting my body art? Thank you so much. And he was like, yeah, I actually like it, but don't get another one. And I was like, can't promise anything, bro. I assume that you are not as social in the beauty community, example, events and trips. I guess I'm not super social in the beauty community. I feel like I found my best friends in the beauty community, and I sort of just like stick to my friends. The beauty community could be a scary place. There's a lot of really strong personalities. As I mentioned, I'm more of an introverted person. I don't love going to events. It just is sort of really out of my comfort zone, like so out of my comfort zone. I don't love talking to new people, so events aren't really my thing. It's not really my favorite thing to do. I have found though really, really incredible people in the beauty community, and I'm so grateful for them, and meeting them and having friends in this community is so incredibly important because it is so cutthroat. It is so, you know, dramatic a lot of the times. It's nice to have somebody to vent to. No, I'm definitely not very social in the beauty community, and I actually like it that way. By the way, for my lip, I'm using this Burberry Lip Velvet Crush Sheer Matte Stain in the shade number 25. Little update on the makeup, just in case you're wondering. This foundation is absolutely beautiful. I love the way it looks. I love the finish. It's so freaking nice. I am very excited about it. Friends, we are finished. Those are all the assumptions I'm gonna be answering today. This is the finished makeup look. I hope that you guys maybe learned a little something new about me today. Don't forget to let me know all of your thoughts down below as per usual. Of course, give us a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.